Hey, everybody. Y'all want to hear a really funny joke? We should take all the men and women out of the MCU and replace them all with raccoons. That's a funny joke, isn't it? Ha ha ha. Let's start the show. What's going on, everybody? We are the Cinefanatics. This is the Tagline. My name is Robert Adams.
I am Chris Adams.
And it's the Tagline. It's the show where the tagline's the title. We're going to talk about movie news and everything going on in the world of movies and whatnot. And how's everyone doing tonight? How are you doing, Chris?
First of all,
yes, Chris.
I know you meant it as a joke, but yes, I would love to see raccoons in the role of everybody in the MCU.
Yeah, see, that would be a funny joke. Good Lord, people. I feel like that's gonna be like our cold open joke like every week, is I'm just gonna find like whatever the stupidest, hottest take on Twitter is, and I'm just gonna mock it.
What's the dumbest thing somebody has said over the course of the last couple of days relevant to the movie industry? And let's just bring that up.
Basically, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. The internet is such a good and a horrible, horrible place at the same time. Just can't help it. Guys, we are on the internet, and by us being on the internet means we have YouTube things to do. Streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. If you have any questions, comments, issues, complaints, if you just want to send money.
We're the good part of the internet.
Yeah. If you just want to send money, that's great. That's fantastic. That definitely helps not only get the bills paid, but get other things paid and taken care of. And yeah, it is the season. Your generosity will be shouted out and appreciated live on air. So if you would like to, there's a good place. There's also patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you have the means, if you feel we are worthy of your support, please pick the tier that is right for you and your bank account and support us. We will very much appreciate that as well. Coming up, though, if you are a part of the Patreon, let me see, next Wednesday, the 14th, after the Tagline, we will be doing the movie trivia hangout. If you are on the Maverick tier and you want to test your knowledge on movie trivia, come join us. It's roughly going to be, so we usually estimate about 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern, 10 Central. It's roughly about 2 hours after we start the Tagline. So we should be available by then. And we'll have like some fun trivia hangout. Let's say last month we did the Christmas movies. The month before we did horror movies. And even my brother did pretty decent at the horror movies. So this month we're going to do James Cameron movies. So if you're familiar with James Cameron and all of his movies, not including Avatar 2, we won't be including questions from Avatar 2. Unless they're like superficial questions. Like what year did Avatar 2 come out? Like something like that.
Who directed Avatar 2? Yeah.
Huh?
Also, we will not have had the chance to see Avatar 2 until the day after, so.
Yeah. That is next week. Okay. So, for some reason, because of everyone's like opinions on the internet now about the Avatar, I was expecting it to come out tomorrow. So I was completely off on my days. But yeah, we'll see it next week after we do the trivia. But yeah, if you want to test your luck on some James Cameron movies, hop on the Patreon at the Maverick tier. We'll see you after the Tagline next week. Wednesday, the 21st, if you're at the $5 due tier, you could join us for the movie watch-along. We are going to put a poll up on our Patreon, so keep an eye out for that poll to go up. It will probably also be notified to you in email, so just keep your eye on that. Probably going to select through like some Christmas movies. Just what holiday movies do y'all want to watch, and we'll watch those. So that will be coming up. The poll will be coming up shortly, I believe. The watch along will be on Wednesday, the 21st. So, anyways, upcoming shows. We have this Friday, we have The Marquee, where I will be doing Christmas horror movies. We'll be joined by special guests Lego and Andres Gallego. And yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Christmas horror movies are a special subgenre of horror. They're a lot of fun. Even though my brother, it's going to be hard to convince my brother otherwise. But yeah, nothing says holly jolly like someone like stabbing you. And yeah, Oh yeah, a lot like that, Chris. Good, yeah, good look. So that is this coming Friday, December 9th. It's going to be at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. If you are a part of our Patreon, if you go to our Discord under the Marquee channel, you can see the entire list of movies that we will be tier ranking. So if you want to watch those movies to catch up so you can give your opinion live in the chat, it is there available for you to see. So yeah, go check that out. Otherwise, speaking of holiday stuff, if you hadn't seen it yet, yesterday we dropped the 4th episode of the Cinefanatics podcast. It is What Makes a Movie a Christmas Movie? And yes, we are talking about the Die Hard argument, not so much like our... I mean, I feel like we give our opinions of if we feel like Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Oh, no. We definitely give our opinions.
But we're not necessarily trying to convince you of our opinions. It's more of a discussion about the discussion. So if you haven't heard this yet, again, it's available pretty much everywhere you get podcasts. And of course, there is a video version here on YouTube on this channel. Please go check that out. Like it, comment, and share. Definitely share. Sharing's the main part of that. But yes.
Sharing is caring.
If you have watched it and listened to it already, thank you. Let us know your thoughts. So we appreciate that. Anyways.
Yeah.
How is everyone doing now that I've gotten through 7 minutes of all the general stuff that we have to do because we're on YouTube? The rest of the episode is good other than their bad take on Die Hard. The thing is, yeah, they definitely give their opinion and that's it. But like, I don't feel like we're trying to convince anyone at this point. Like, I feel like I've had that argument enough with people that I'm done like trying to convince people. Now I'm just trying to get people to understand how you have a conversation, how you have that argument. Kind of like, I know we say at the very beginning that the problem is anytime you're trying to convince someone of anything, not just the Die Hard argument, anytime you try to convince someone to see something your way, you're talking to them. In the meantime, they're in the back of their head, not listening to you. They're thinking about what they're going to say to convince you to their point of view. That's the main thing I like talking about, is talking about the argument, but not the argument itself.
That being said, I absolutely have no issue dying on the hill that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, but we can move on from that.
Yeah. If y'all want to hear exactly the reasons why it may or may not,
watch the podcast.
Watch the podcast. Listen to the podcast. It's fun. I enjoyed doing that one.
It's good stuff.
Anyways. Yeah, what do we got? We got movies that we have watched over the past week or so. Chris, what have you watched?
I've been getting in the holly jolly spirit of the season, and I've watched both new releases of the Christmas genre, Spirited and Christmas Story, A Christmas Story Christmas. The second of which has the longest title in the world.
You had to clear your throat just for the title.
Yes. Both of them are lovely. I had a lot of fun with both of them. Both just a great delight. I actually like A Christmas Story Christmas more than Spirited. And I actually like A Christmas Story Christmas. I'm going to stop saying the entire title. I like the sequel to Christmas Story. I like that movie actually a lot better than I like the original. And I was just okay on the original. I thought it was fine. It's, nice. I feel like you grew up with it. It's like a yearly tradition for you. Then it means something for you. Cool. Awesome. I didn't watch it when I was younger. I honestly watched it for the first time last year. So this is basically me taking the sequel to a movie that I didn't grow up with, but still finding the charm and the heartwarming love in it. And I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was lovely. And I think even if you just think the first Christmas Story is okay, go ahead and watch the sequel anyway, because it's charming. It's charming. It's great. And it's on HBO Max. So, it's available for you right there.
Yeah. So real quick, while we're talking about the Christmas movies that you've watched, basically the other reason you're watching Christmas movies, besides the fact that it's the time of the year, is we will also be doing another marquee this month, which we will be tier ranking Christmas movies, which we've never done before. But yeah, we're going to be tier ranking just regular Christmas movies, not horror Christmas movies. We're doing horror Christmas movies this week, but there will be another one this month. So yeah, we're catching up on Christmas movies as well. So keep an eye out for that. I'll make more mention of that on Friday with the Christmas horror marquee. We'll talk about it a little bit more. The list for that will be up on Discord shortly. So, as for me, I watched the only thing really new over the past week, other than like I watched a couple of more of the Christmas horror movies, which again I'll talk about on the marquee rather than here. The only other thing new that I watched was Bullet Train. That movie was a delight. I loved Bullet Train.
You can't. No, you can't. After I say Christmas Story 2 is a delight, you can't turn around and say Bullet Train is a delight. No,
I didn't know. I didn't recall that you said it was a delight.
Bullet Train is not a delight. It might be a fun time, but delight is not the word to describe Bullet Train.
It was a lot of fun. It's stupid. It's schlocky. It's very all over the place. It took me about 15-20 minutes to kind of get into the zone of what that movie's doing, because it does jump around between all the players a lot at the very beginning of the movie, and it's kind of hard to really nail down what everyone is doing and why they're doing it. But once you get the idea of how the ball is rolling and you're attached to it, oh, it's good. It's so good. It was a lot of fun. I can understand why people may not like the movie, but I loved it. I had so much fun with it. So yeah. Any diesels in here? I mean, possibly. Yeah, loved Bullet Train. Bullet Train is fun. Yeah, Bullet Train was so good. Anyways, that's the only thing new I watched. Looking at y'all's comments, yeah, Lego. So Klaus I watched last year, and it is a gorgeous animated movie. The animation that they do in that movie is so good looking. Yeah, I loved Klaus. I would say you liked Klaus also, right?
Klaus is good.
Yeah. Yeah, Klaus is an amazing take on a Santa Claus story. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Spoiler alert, Klaus will be on the marquee that we're ranking Christmas movies. So how high is it going to rank? Probably pretty damn high, because both of us like it. And I know our guest who's joining us for that marquee also likes that movie, I believe.
Yeah. I'll have to look at that. I'll have to look at that list again and see how high I rank it compared to everything else.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's gonna rank pretty high, but yeah, everyone who's participating in that has a very high opinion of it. So, anyways, that's what we have done this past week. Do we want to get into movie news? Because we got a lot of movie news.
Apparently, there's a lot of there's some movie news that's still coming out. So this show's we're gonna have a show tonight. Let's get into movie news.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
Back to you.
All right, movie news. Chris, would you like to give my mouth a break for a bit and read off the box office for the past weekend?
Oh my God, would I? Yes, the box office this last week. Number one, still Black Panther. We're not gonna make a joke. We're not gonna do a guess. It's still Black Panther. 4 weeks in a row, number one, and that's with a 61% drop off from last week.
It has, insane. I believe, it has overtook Doctor Strange Mom to be the highest grossing Marvel movie in Phase 4.
As it should.
If it hasn't, it will within like a couple of hours. Like it's super close to beating it.
It absolutely should be the highest grossing movie in Phase 4. It 100% deserves it. Ryan Coogler and the whole team, they absolutely deserve that accolade, whatever. It's 100% deserves to be number one. But they made about 17.5 million this last weekend, so that's pretty good. Number two, opening this weekend was Violent Night with a almost 13.5 million itself. Pretty good opening for that one.
I want to go see that so bad. I came out this past weekend. I just did not have time to go see it. Plus, those of y'all that follow me on social media, I had to get like some repairs and stuff done with my car, so I just haven't had the opportunity to go anywhere.
Yep. So. And then number three, we've got Strange World, which was at number 2 last week, at number 3 this week.
I don't want to see that one.
An extra 5 million. You don't want to see it, really?
I don't care about that one.
I do. I want to see it. We're gonna end up waiting for Disney Plus at this point, but I'll
probably watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus, because it's a part of the Disney animated library, and I would love to be completely caught up on all of those movies. I would like to say I've seen all of them, so I will eventually have to watch it. But yeah, I don't know anything about that movie thanks to the marketing.
Other than what trailers you did see.
I've seen the trailers, but I don't remember like jack from the trailer, other than they're in a strange world, which coincidentally is the name of the movie.
It looked like a Journey to the Center of the Earth type situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that'll probably, it's been out for 2 weeks. That'll probably be on Disney Plus. Give it another month, or so,
or a week at the current rate.
Sometime in January, I expect. Let's see. Number 4 is The Menu, rising from the number 5 spot. So that movie got bumped up a spot. That's pretty good.
That's one I think that like it's bumping because of word of mouth.
Yeah. People going, this movie's crazy. You should go see it.
Yeah. Which is true. That movie was crazy. Y'all should go see it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it is true.
I know there's a couple of people I've seen online that they're saying it's like right there at the top of their movies for the year so far too. So I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Number 5 is Devotion. Number 6 is a new release, I Heard the Bells, which was a Fathom event. So I don't think that we'll be seeing that one on the list for too long. I think this is just like it's 1 week if it's a Fathom event. Number 7, we'll be talking about this movie later, is Black Adam. Number 8 is The Fabelmans, moving down from its number 7 spot. And number 9 is Bones and All. Number 10 is Ticket to Paradise.
I still want to see Bones and All. That was another one. I don't know if it's like, has it official? I guess it is like widely released if it's popping up on a top 10 list, but
yeah. Well, I mean this shows movies that are not opened wide also, but yes, it is wide released.
Yeah. I like Luca Guadagnino's past 2 movies, Suspiria and Call Me by Your Name. Both of those were pretty good. They're very like weird in some cases, abstract, especially Suspiria. If you're a fan of the original Suspiria, it's completely different, but it's still good. So
yeah. Anyway, that's your top 10. Yeah, fairly standard looking top 10. We'll see how Avatar affects this going forward. I'm fully expecting that Avatar will probably knock Black Panther out of that number 1 spot.
You think?
almost a damn guarantee at this point. But oddly, both movies involving The Way of Water.
Yeah. Black Panther 2, The Way of Water. What is it with you and slurping your water lately? You did that in the podcast too.
I use it when it makes sense for a joke.
Yeah. Anyways. And that's it for the box office?
Yes, sir.
All right. So moving on to movie news. Are we moving on to movie news?
I mean, we've been in movie news. This is still going to constantly be movie news. At this point, Barbie Watch is as fun as the shit-eating grin I have on my face whenever I make it happen.
It's that Barbie time, y'all. What do you got on us for the Barbie Watch?
What were those words? One more time?
What do you got for us on the Barbie Watch?
There it is. So nothing really actually new this week. So we're going to dive back to a story that was about a couple weeks ago that we didn't hit because we weren't doing a tagline that week.
Like Garth just got here in the first thing.
Whoops, late to this. Not late enough. Not late enough. Anyway. So on this piece of news here, let's talk about this. We've got a story of who Will Ferrell is playing in the movie. Some of y'all may be familiar with this story already. It is a couple weeks old, but he came out and said who he is playing and what his role in the movie is. So this is an interesting piece of character news we've got here. As per Variety, this says there's been a lot of talk about Margot Robbie playing Barbie or Ryan Gosling playing Ken, but we don't really know too much about who these supporting roles are and who they're playing. Well, Will Ferrell confirmed for the first time in a new Wall Street Journal magazine interview that he's playing the CEO of Mattel in the movie. The actor described his character as insensitive and weird while also calling the movie a fusion of high and low art forms. Now, what does that mean, you ask? I have no idea. He said, "It is, in my humble opinion, the ultimate example of high art and low art. It's a loving homage to the brand and, at the same time, couldn't be more satirical. Just an amazing comment on male patriarchy and women in society and why Barbie's criticized and yet why every little girl still wants to play with Barbie. Boy, when I read it, I was like, this is fantastic."
I feel like that says everything you need to know, and it also says absolutely nothing at all.
It tells me, honestly, everything that, we need to know about what this movie is about. I heard rumor that this whole thing is basically Barbie is coming alive in some way. The doll herself is going to exist in the real world, and she's going to have to learn how to function and make do in the real world. And that sounds fascinating, especially now when you're telling me that Will Ferrell is playing the CEO of Mattel, and he's going to be what sounds like a cocksure, kind of weird guy. And I think that is such a good role for him because he's going to be that sassy, but still like, I don't know, self-assured. It sounds like a Will Ferrell role, honestly. It sounds like a Will Ferrell role. Yeah. So I'm into it. I think that's a fun role for him. I think it's going to be a fun movie. I think him having a part in it is going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully we start getting some more details as to what some of these other characters are playing and what their roles are.
I'm just wanting a trailer now. Can we just get a trailer? Like, seriously, like, Jeremy, we need a Barbie trailer.
We do need a Barbie trailer. We need a Barbie trailer so I can get more images for the intro.
I really I know we've already talked about this multiple times. I really want like Aqua's song to at least be in the trailer. I guarantee. Here's the thing. I will put money on this easily.
I wouldn't.
If they don't put it in the trailer, which I'm pretty sure they're not going to, there will be no less than, let's say, 100. No less than 100. Could be way more than 100, but there will be no less than 100 fan-created trailers that are going to add the song into the trailer.
That you could put money on. Yes, that is true. That'll 100% happen.
Yeah, everyone's going, hey, guys, check this out. I stuck the Aqua song in. Yeah, so did everyone else that has, like, basic knowledge of video editing. Everyone did that. That's like whenever the first Avatar 2 trailer came out. Anyone who has like a simple concept of how to work a camera did a reaction to it. So if you are typically doing reactions, yours get buried under the giant mound of everyone like, hey, I think I'll react to this one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, speaking of Avatar, let's move on to our first news story here. Avatar 2 has premiered a couple of nights ago now, and a lot of people have been able to see it. There's still an embargo on official reviews, so most everyone's doing reactions, like out of the theater reactions. Most of the ones that I've seen or read or heard are actually really good. They're really positive. The thing I like about it is, especially hearing from some people that they weren't a big fan of the first one, like myself, but they said the second one was much better. And it's a lot of it seems to be, and like I told you this, that the first one was very formulaic, the whole like Pocahontas, Ferngully, yada, yada, yada. So that they did that story route in the first movie just to set up the idea, to set up the world, the concepts and everything. But now this movie's free to take all those concepts already established and create its own story. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of people seem to be liking about it. So the visuals, all the reviews, all the reactions, all the reactions seem to claim that the visuals are stunning. Like, this is, again, kind of upping when the first Avatar came out. Even though I don't like the movie, I think it's an absolutely gorgeous movie. And I don't think anyone has ever said anything less than that. Everyone who's ever seen that movie has always been like in awe of how it looks.
You can't fault it for how it looks at all.
No. Like this one, again, I see a lot of people are saying that it's stepping it up again. I know,
which is an intriguing concept because we know that the first Avatar was pretty groundbreaking in its visuals when it came out. You know, almost 13 years ago. Yeah, about 13 years ago. And now we're talking about this is supposed to be like another groundbreaking achievement. But I'm like, we've seen technology do some crazy things over the last 13 years to the point where we have a near seamless looking Luke Skywalker in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen technology do some crazy stuff. Like, what are they doing in this movie that's groundbreaking? So honestly, like, if for no other reason, that gets me excited to see the movie. But also, I actually do like the first one.
Yeah. A lot of people seem to be saying that like the over 3-hour runtime actually isn't that big of a deal. I don't know if you saw that there was an interview that someone did with James Cameron about it. Like, well, so it's over 3 hours long. When would you recommend taking a bathroom break? When would you say is the best time for the audience to go take a bathroom break?
Whenever you need to.
Yeah. Have you read it or have you seen that?
Yeah. His whole thing is you go whenever you need to.
You go whenever you need to go. If you miss a part of the movie, you'll just catch it again when you come back and watch it for a second time in the theater. I'm like,
or whenever.
Such a smart ass remark. You'll catch it when you come back and see it for a second time.
Where's the gif or the video of Falcon from Falcon and the Winter Soldier going? He's out of pocket. He's not. He's out of line. But he's right.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I understand like as a filmmaker, you're like, people are going to go to the bathroom. Look, I'm making the movie I want to make. Okay. If you got to go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom. You know, I'm not holding your hand through this. Do what you got to do. But also I'm still going to make the movie I want to make. I don't care.
Which, I mean, it brings back up, like, why can't we put, like, intermissions back in movies again? I'm guessing that the main reason we don't have intermissions is because nowadays we're in such a go world. I don't have time for you to take 10 minutes or so out of your movie for me to just sit there. If I need to go to the bathroom, cool. If I don't, I'm just sitting there wasting time and I'm wanting the movie to hurry up and continue so I can get back to whatever else I need to do. So,
yeah.
People need to learn the joy of wearing adult diapers. No. Pass.
It's not the worst idea.
But I mean, if I don't have to wear a diaper, that would be great. Anyways. So yeah, the reviews so far, the reactions have been good. Everyone's saying it looks beautiful. There's a lot of heart in this. I'm hearing a lot of people saying that they're crying multiple times. Which sounds like a fun game for me, that when we go see it, we'll play the game of Will Robert cry.
No,
probably not. My heart is about as black as my shirt, my chair, and my bed covers back here.
The only time that you maybe tear up is if something in the movie is connected to something in real life. Like you have had a little misting going on during Wakanda Forever. Something that makes sense.
Yeah.
If it's connected to something like real life oriented, then yes. Otherwise, you're a heartless bastard.
Possible. I mean, who knows? I mean, not really. I know who my father is, so.
Could have just moved on from what I said.
I felt like that would be a funny joke.
I talked to him yesterday.
Anyways, so the other one, the one thing I heard, looking at everyone's reactions, the one I thought was really good was John Roca. He said that if this is the movie that we've had to wait, like, was it 13 years for? He's like, let James Cameron take that 13 years. Worth it. Like, let him have his 13 years to make a movie. He's like, I know it's been a long time. It kind of feels like we're out of like touch, out of context with it. But 13 years later, welcome back to Pandora type of thing. And if this is what it takes to make a movie this good, let him take 13 years off to do it.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
So that's a really good. That's something I like, that connection into like the real world, how we connect to movies, because we've all experienced like that 13-year gap. So I know we're all questioning like, well, how good is it actually going to be? It's 13 years later. I would have expected I'd be more invested in this movie if it came out like within a 2 or 3 years after the original. So that's a really good positive opinion. Yeah, and I'm seeing this also is that it's going to win Oscars. Very much so.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's for sure going to win Oscars on the like technical side of things. Absolutely. It's just a matter of whether or not it'll be nominated for Best Picture. Guessing without seeing it yet. Of course, we got to see the movie, but without seeing it, I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say it's not gonna win Best Picture. But will it be nominated? Possible. We'll see though. We'll see. I definitely think it will absolutely be nominated for multiple other technical awards like visual effects and all that for sure.
So I'm going back and real quick looking at the first Avatar specifically for the Oscars. I'm looking at it was nominated for Best Picture. It was nominated for Best Director. It won Best Art Direction and Best Cinematography. It was nominated for editing, score, sound editing, sound mixing, and won for visual effects. I would venture a guess that we're probably going to see that all probably play out exactly the same. It'll probably be pretty similar. The only question is that that Best Picture. And that's the thing, like Garth's saying here, there's some good movies that are out there for Best Picture. Right now, I could easily see Best Picture could be Top Gun is probably going to be in there. RRR, I would love to see RRR get a Best Picture nomination.
We'll see about that one.
Yeah. Black Panther. There's a chance Black Panther could get it also, since the first Black Panther got it.
Woman King, The Fabelmans, Babylon. All these are other movies that'll probably be in the discussion too. There's definitely some others that we're missing off the top of our heads right now. But Tori said it. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Should be in there for sure. Yeah. Those are all the ones that we'll see probably get the nomination. I'm intrigued to see which one of those get the win, especially if the Academy still remembers Everything Everywhere All at Once by this point, and if it has how good of a shot does it have to make it. Also, Nope might be in there too.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually surprised. I would think that Banshees of Inisherin. Yep. Maybe Triangle of Sadness. I've heard a lot of people saying stuff about that one as well. That one just seems maybe it's like a little too quirky to actually get the
Tar
Best Picture.
We're going off on this route, Joe. We could do a whole other podcast or tagline.
Well, we probably will actually. Now that we're doing a podcast, that seems like that would be a proper discussion for that. I'm actually surprised that Everything Everywhere All at Once hasn't been re-released to the theaters just for your consideration. And I know now the Oscars are pushed back to like March. So I'm not sure when the time closes for like nominations to get in there. That might be like towards the end of January now. So there might be a chance that come January they do re-release it in the theaters, especially because January is typically like a dead zone for movies anyways.
And the answer is yes. And you're forgiven for not knowing that because they didn't put it in the telecast last year. Yeah. But yes, there is a award for editing.
Yeah. We'll usually do we'll do some kind of probably like a marquee. I think we did last year. I forgot what it is, but we'll have to go back and see how we did the marquees with that last year.
That's not going to be at the end of December. If we're doing that, it's likely going to be in January. Because we've got already 2 marquees for December, and we've got a lot to catch up on before then. So that one will be after we catch up on all the 2022 movies, so we can do it in
probably towards the end of January, because we already have another marquee for January as well.
Yeah.
So taking advantage of a very specific Friday in January to do a very specific marquee. So that'll be fun.
Oh, that'll be interesting. Do we have time for a hiatus? I don't know.
Yeah, we do. Luckily, that marquee, I've already seen all those movies, so I don't have to worry about it. Anyways, yeah, so the reviews, the reactions so far are positive. Here's the thing. I had originally watched the trailer. Y'all see like our trailer reaction. We did the reaction to at least the first trailer. I still was not that impressed. I mean, I guess it kind of looks cool, but all those blue Na'vi people all look alike to me, so I can't tell.
Wow. That's racist.
They're computer generated and they're not real. It's
both
okay.
Racist and speciesist.
It just, the movie looks dull. I mean, again, I'm coming off of like my opinion of the first one. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but hearing all these reactions, especially from people that shared the same opinion that I had of the original, it might turn me around a little bit. Like I'm actually like, okay, this might be interesting, because I want to like a good movie, and I know they're good movies. It's just I just didn't enjoy the first one. I would like to like it, so hopefully it works out, and I'm a little bit more positive on it going into seeing it next week.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Other movies coming out.
We'll talk about this one.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Yeah, this one's going to be good. You talk about it, because you're more of a fan of this person's work anyways.
Well, there's only so much I can talk about on this. I'm going to go ahead and say that you still talk about it, but I'm saying I want to talk about it.
So it was announced that Wes Anderson's next movie, Asteroid City, is coming out June 16th of next year. And they release the cast list. Here's the thing. We've got a ton of movies with gigantic stacked casts lately. Between this and Oppenheimer, Babylon, what's the one that came out? Amsterdam, that no one really went to go watch. But yeah, a lot of these movies just have a ginormous cast list. And this one is probably Wes Anderson's biggest by far. Or at least probably up there with at least Royal Tenenbaums.
Which is to say, so like the funny thing about Wes Anderson, and as we've seen with directors before, you'll find a director who usually works with a specific actor multiple times. Like Scorsese's got, his crew with Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio. He'll work with them a lot. You've got Nolan usually works with was it Christian Bale, Cillian Murphy, Michael Caine. You'll see him work with these individuals a lot. Wes Anderson does have that as well, but his actors that he works with consistently are too numerous for me to spend the remaining time on the tagline tonight to name. He's got every single one of his movies is always a stacked cast, but it's always a stacked cast of like the same players. Typically, your Jeff Goldblums, your Owen Wilsons, Bill Murray. There's just so many. There's just so many to name. But this particular movie has gone like 18 steps beyond. And it's including the likes of Margot Robbie, Steve Carell, and Tom Hanks.
Yeah, the first time in a Wes Anderson movie. So between the two of us, you like Wes Anderson way more than I do. But even I was like, all right, you're going to put Margot Robbie and Tom Hanks in a Wes Anderson movie? I may be interested in this. I need to see a trailer just to see how quirky this one's going to be, but this might be interesting.
I love it. I love the fact that we're getting Tom Hanks in a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
I never thought about the fact that I needed that, and I need that.
Yeah. So here's a nice real quick list of people in this. Tilda Swinton, Adrian Brody, Tom Hanks, Margot Robbie, Rupert Friend, Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston, Hope Davis, Jeff Goldblum, Jeffrey Wright, Liev Schreiber, Tony Reviol. Oh, you can't say that one fast.
Revelori.
Yes. Matt Dillon, Sophia Lillis, Steve Park, Maya Hawke, Fisher Stevens, Edward Norton, Steve Carell, Hong Chow, William Dafoe, Rita Wilson. Like, that is a huge, huge amount of people in that.
Wait, Rita Wilson's in it too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's I would say there's not too many movies that Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson have both acted in. In fact, the only one I know off the top of my head is That Thing You Do.
Mm-hmm.
And oh no, what else? There was another one too, where she had like a small like cameo role, and it's definitely like he just put his wife in this movie too. I forgot what it was, but
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that's gonna be a lot of people. That might be a really good movie. So
now we have a situation where you have some people saying that there's no longer movie stars, that movie stars don't sell movies anymore. And at the same time, like, while that's true in a lot of circumstances, I think there's also a lot of circumstances where the movie stars and the director, their names do still sell movies. Mm-hmm. Now, in this specific instance, it's the fact that it's a bunch of movie stars together. It's the fact that we are seeing multiple movie star names, a lot of them, combined with director name that is selling this movie immediately. I don't know what the premise is. I have no idea. All I know is Wes Anderson's directing it, and it's got all these people in it who I like to watch, and they're all going to be in it together, and I'm sold.
So, for example, to that point, let's go with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is a big name. His name drives people to the movies. The fact that it's Tom Hanks in a Wes Anderson movie is what has me interested and intrigued. Typically, if you just tell me Wes Anderson has another movie coming out, I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Chris will enjoy it, but I don't care. But you're telling me that Tom Hanks is going to be in it, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to see this. But Tom Hanks isn't, just his name alone is not a huge draw for me. For example, I haven't seen that. What's that movie, News of the World, that he did like last year? Haven't seen that. What's the movie with him and Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts, where like I guess they're
Larry Crown?
Yeah, they're driving like on a moped or scooter or Vespa or something. Yeah, haven't seen that either. So just because Tom Hanks is in a movie doesn't mean I would necessarily want to go see it. But Tom Hanks in a Wes Anderson movie, that's kind of intriguing.
You mean you didn't rush out to the theater and throw down all your cash for Cloud Atlas?
No, I didn't. Not
surprising. But yeah, no, this sounds amazing. I'm already sold for it.
Garth says it's based on the video game Asteroids, and then Jeremy says I should play it on my channel. No, I've played Asteroids before. It's not a super fun game to watch people play. So,
if that's what the movie actually was, I'd be sold still. Go for it.
Just a little ship, just like turning around. Pew pew.
Wes Anderson adapting an old retro video game into a movie. Sold.
Anyways. It sounds like it's going to be stacked. It sounds kind of interesting. Like that will be one that I will have to reserve for like an actual trailer reaction to it. And then we'll see how I feel like in that trailer reaction. So whenever that comes out,
I'm telling you right now, it's going to feel like a Wes Anderson movie.
Oh, very much so.
There's a few things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and Wes Anderson's going to make a movie that looks like a Wes Anderson movie.
They're going to have shots of like a bunch of people just sitting in chairs, staring at a camera in weird poses. We'll have shots of like nothing but a solid color. We'll have a profile shot of someone running across the screen from one side of the screen to the other. We'll have some very melancholy music, some very muted tones, and weird like cuts to individual actors like looking at the camera, mugging and saying hello. That is every Wes Anderson movie right there.
And also someone's going to punch someone else in the face at some point.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, forgot about that one.
But it's not going to be like, whoo, it's going to be like,
yeah. It will be some like, excuse me, can I get a cup of coffee? Boom. Like
exactly. You're going to see it from the perspective of the person doing the punching. So you're just going to see that person with a fist coming on their face.
Yeah. Anyways, So interesting on there. Other things that we revealed this past week, we've got posters, and typically I wouldn't necessarily say them all for like, let's talk about a poster for a movie coming out. How dare you? You're going to call out Wes Anderson with all this truth while I sit here. I was a barista. He's my director. Thanks, Lego. Normally I wouldn't like talk about a movie trailer or a movie poster, at least the teaser posters, but we got a couple of really good ones this past week. Let's actually start with this one first. We got the teaser poster for John Wick 4.
Such a good poster.
I want this poster, and this would be a poster that would probably stay like on our like podcast set in that third poster area. It would probably stay there for a while just because of Keanu's pissed off face and then the tie. That hourglass tie with the bullets is such a cool design. I love this poster. Anyways, yeah, I want that.
Yeah, it's a great design. I actually really enjoy that. I'm like, okay. We are all out here still capable of making good posters. Nice.
Yeah. Instead of sticking with like your very common, like your Marvel posters with all the floating heads and stuff that we generally always see, this was a really good design. So the other one that's actually going to lead us into other movie news that we're going to talk about here, we actually got the first poster for Blue Beetle. Now, I will also state... I don't know why Blue Beetle's getting a movie. Blue Beetle is typically not again, kind of like what I said with Ant-Man, and I don't know why this all has to do with bugs, but it's not a character that I feel like lends itself to its own movie quite yet, especially when in DC, we're still having issues with establishing Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman on a normal, consistent basis. We're over here diving into worlds of all these like third, fourth, fifth tier characters. That being said, this poster is awesome looking. The colors, the design is gorgeous.
I'm going to tell you right now, the design of this poster is hinting at what I think is going to be the tone of the movie itself. Mm-hmm. If you look at the 2023, you look at the colors, the blues and the pinks, and how they're like they kind of got that starburst effect on them.
Yeah.
This gives me some 80s synthwave vibes, which, you know, if you want to kind of peg that into another movie, it's also kind of like a Blade Runner 2049 type situation. I think that's kind of what you're looking at. You're looking at some like cool little synthwave vibe, like so kind of like the same genre that you've seen a lot of like 80s horror type stuff too. Like I'll even bring up like Stranger Things as an homage to it. You kind of get the same kind of feelings there. I think they're going to do something with that and play around with that with Blue Beetle. Blue Monday will be in the trailer again. Yeah. I'll be honest, I would not be surprised if Booster Gold doesn't have a cameo or isn't like a post-credits reveal. It would be shocking if he's not in it in some
there will be something having to do with Booster Gold in that movie. Absolutely 100%. I would bet more money on that than I would on how many people are going to put the Barbie girl song in the trailer for Barbie.
Right.
I mean, so I get this. To develop more movies with a person of color as like your lead. I completely get that. But I'm also looking at it from a studio and a comic book fan point of view.
Story perspective.
Yeah, like say when Ant-Man came out. Now, granted, Ant-Man's white. I know, I got that. But Ant-Man didn't come out before they had fully developed Thor. We got like serious development on Iron Man, Captain America, Thor before they started venturing into like Ant-Man or Guardians of the Galaxy or any of the other like lower tier characters. So that's what I'm looking at now is like, we've had one Superman movie. We really haven't had a Batman movie established in the DCEU. We've had one Wonder Woman movie that 2/3 of it was great and one Wonder Woman movie that's And now we're just going to shift focus to these lower tier characters like Blue Beetle or like the Batgirl movie they were trying to do.
Yeah.
You need to work on your main characters first. Make sure they're established and they're going to contain, like, they're going to be within this world. And we're busy with like Shazam and Black Adam and Blue Beetle. And yeah, it's the same issue that I have with what Sony's doing right now with their Spider-Man movies, in that we're focusing on all these other characters that have, like, just because you have access to them doesn't mean you have to make a movie of them. I don't need a Kraven the Hunter movie, Madam Web, Morbius. So yeah, it's the same issue. But yeah, I'm all for like the fact that, like, yes, let's bring more movies that center around a person of color. That's fantastic. That's great. I would love seeing that diversity. I'm okay with a Blue Beetle movie eventually being made, but I don't think it's time quite yet. Like, I want to reestablish everything else, which is a coincidence because that's exactly what's pretty much happening anyways. So right before we went live tonight, news was dropping that James Gunn's sudden like shift focus for the DC movie universe is really about to start making some major changes. The first number one, like, seemingly dropping of the axe or guillotine or whatever is that apparently they're not going to be making a third Wonder Woman movie.
As it's being reported right now, it seems that Wonder Woman 3 is getting canned.
Which, okay, and I know I just said like a couple of bad things about Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot was not a problem with those movies at all. She was fantastic as Wonder Woman, and I would absolutely love to have the Hot Toys figure of her as Wonder Woman on display here. Like, she was one of the best parts of the DCEU. Again, the first like 2/3 of the first Wonder Woman movie were fantastic, and I'm okay with the ending of it. It's a little wonky, but otherwise, it's a good movie overall. Wonder Woman 84 had some good parts to it.
And moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, this I don't want to say like this makes sense, but it kind of does. When you've got someone who's coming in and you see someone taking complete control over the entire studio and what they're going to do, knowing full well that DC has been kind of a disaster train, since the beginning, especially with like when it came down to the Justice League and how they organized everything, and them trying to fast track their team up movie to try to get on the same level playing field with Marvel in terms of being able to create the same kind of content that generates the same revenue and audience. They kind of shot themselves in the foot a while back. So now, because they did that, and now they finally have someone who's essentially taking up the Kevin Feige version for DC, the Kevin Feige producer version for DC, it is to be expected that a lot of what we thought was going to come down the line here is not going to happen. Everything's getting canned. Everything's going to get reworked, refashioned. This is kind of what we were predicting. It's what a lot of people were predicting the Flash movie was going to end up doing. Would be to basically reset the entire canon timeline and just reset and restart a whole new DC cinematic universe, which is good. Now, the only thing that we have real concerns over is that there's a couple actors who are currently portraying characters within the DC universe as it is so far that we're not ready to give up yet, because they are actually perfect casting for their characters. Namely, I can think of two right off the top of my head, and that's Henry Cavill as Superman and Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Those two, to reset the entire universe and not bring at least those two back on board to portray those characters again in a new reset timeline, I feel like would be a mistake, because they both accurately represent those characters, both how they look and how they act. So
yeah. And so that was the thing. Like, we've talked about this before when we were given our thoughts of how the DC movies should move forward. And I've explained my viewpoint, which you've called like the whole like scorched earth, just burn it all down, destroy it all.
Yeah, but yours is canning everything that's in the works, whether it's post production or about to come out or what. It doesn't matter. Just get rid of
all of it and start all over. My viewpoint on there, which I agree, I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Like there's actors that portray some of these characters that I don't want to say bye to. I don't want to let them go. But in the essence of having to redo everything, I feel like it's one of those that the studio itself gets punished by this. They have to say goodbye to these actors playing these roles as well. They should have established a better movie universe from the very beginning. They should have treated it properly with more respect and therefore hold on to those actors. But since they can't do that, they get to lose really good quality actors and characters. And it hurts us as a fan. But that's how I feel like it should go with that. But yeah, us as fans get burned by it. But well, again, movie studio should have done better to begin with. I want it like that just so we have 100% complete blame on the studios for fucking it up to start with. So,
and that's the scorched earth policy way of looking at it. The actual way of looking at it that's going to actually happen is that there's going to be some kind of retaining of some sort in order to maximize profits. If you don't think that James Gunn hasn't looked at the internet and seen the absolute love for Henry Cavill as Superman and is taking that into consideration with any of their future plans with Superman, you're mistaken. James Gunn pays attention to what people say on the internet, which is actually one of the reasons why I love that he's actually in this role for DC, because you see how often he interacts with fans on Twitter, especially over like Guardians of the Galaxy or the Suicide Squad. If you think he's not going to do that also for, all the movies going forward in the DC universe, like he's going to have that aspect, which is an aspect that I think one-ups Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige is not really on Twitter. Like he hasn't really posted anything on Twitter since Chadwick Boseman passed. If you go to his Twitter, I haven't seen anything in a long time, unless he's like posted within like the last week or so. So Kevin Feige is not necessarily interacting with the fans constantly like James Gunn does. So I think that's actually one thing that's a point in James Gunn's favor, and why I think that will actually help him do something really good with the DC universe, because he sees what the fans are saying. He knows what they want. He's a fan himself. He hears the conversation.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Jeff Snyder tweeted out from the Hollywood Reporter saying that Wonder Woman 3 is dead. Their Black Adam sequel is probably unlikely. Possibly no Man of Steel sequel, which means no new solo pick for Henry Cavill. And Aquaman 2 may be the last time we see Momoa as Arthur Curry, but more than likely it looks like they may shift him over to play Lobo,
which makes sense.
And then also they're not messing with Matt Reeves's Batman movies. I'm guessing that also means, and I feel like we've already heard this before anyways from James Gunn himself, he's also not messing with the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movies. So those are still going.
I think at this point you just let those play out. If they're going to play out into a trilogy, let them play out into a trilogy. Let them have their.
Those movies I feel like are pretty well established, or at least the first one, and what it sounds like from the second one coming out. They're going to be pretty well established in their own like little pocket story universe that has nothing to do with anything else that DC is going to do. So yeah, it may be possible. I doubt we see a third one.
You don't think
I don't think there will be a third Joker movie because of this, but after the second one comes out, that'll probably be it for the Joker movies, and it will fade away while the rest of the DC movies become popular.
Because I think they can operate two different Batmans too. I think they can do the Matt Reeves Batman. I think you can have a Batman that operates within the DC universe connected movies. That'll be interesting to see how that works. I don't know that we're going to have an individual Batman movie from the DC connected universe at the same time that we have Matt Reeves's duology, trilogy, whatever happening. But I do think that Batman is going to play a role in whatever the plan for the DC cinematic universe is going forward. He just might not have his own solo movie until after Matt Reeves is done with his version of Batman.
Yeah, I kind of want to see. I don't want to see Batman back like in the DC universe until they go more for like the Justice League. Like that's the thing I really didn't like about the Zack Snyder Justice League is it was Batman that was bringing everyone together. And that's not what Batman would do. Batman would be someone that the rest of the Justice League are calling on him to help out. He helps out for this one-off thing, and then he ups and disappears, and he's not fully committed to being a part of the Justice League. I want that. I want them to do a Justice League movie. Batman pops in like in the third act to kind of help save the day, be that one little push that they need to win the movie. And then he ups and disappears, and then maybe he gets his own like solo movie. But I don't want to see another solo movie from this new DC universe until then. And like if they're not going to incorporate Matt Reeves's Batman movies into this new DC universe, which it kind of sounds like they may be trying to look at that to see if that's possible. I don't know how I feel about that, but if they don't do that, then I would like wait for his movies to end as well. Let him do his like little trilogy real quick. But
I see the way I see it is if they want to follow like similar guidelines to what Marvel has done, which I can easily see James Gunn doing that. And they go by the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 kind of situation. I don't see a DC Cinematic Universe Batman movie happening as long as the Matt Reeves movies are still going on. I don't see that happening until like the start of like a phase 2 of this. Yeah. So we're not looking to like getting closer to like 2030 almost.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, that's what's going on with the DC movies now, specifically back to Black Adam and the thumbnail for it. It was reported that when you're looking at the overall cost of like the production budget for creating the Black Adam movie, plus add in all the advertising and marketing, the marketing budget for it. Typically, the rule of thumb is your marketing is probably just about as much as your production. It's pretty close. It's pretty close to it. You could just double the production costs, and that's what the overall cost for that movie to be made and produced and marketed actually costs. They were saying that it was looking like it in upwards of losing anywhere from like 50 to 100 million, which was going to be really bad for WB, DC in general. Yeah. Which is, again, that's odd because it is, as we said before, this is a movie that Dwayne Johnson was very passionate about making for, like 10 years at least? I mean, we've heard him talk about Black Adam for like over 10 years. So this was an extreme passion project for him, and yet it just severely underperformed. And I think I'm going to go back, like kind of like what I was saying with Blue Beetle. Black Adam in general is not of the echelon that we need a movie from him yet, especially because as a comic book lover, I would have liked it more if Black Adam was more directly connected to Shazam. I would have liked a post-credit scene in the first Shazam movie alluding to Black Adam instead of the caterpillar guy, the professor. I forgot his name. That would have been what I wanted to see, and that would have been a better way to introduce Black Adam into the DC EU at the time. It's just he's not a popular enough character. People don't know who he is. People know who Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern. They know these characters, whether they know them from like good movies or bad Ryan Reynolds movies. Who knows? But you at least know who they are. That's why I think Black Adam was tanking.
Yeah, and it's so the fact is that it's losing money. It is losing money. The report that came out was that it had lost nearly 100 million for WB. That was like the initial report that came out like yesterday, essentially.
Or a couple of days ago, yeah.
Or a couple of days ago. And for those of us who are paying attention, we're like, okay, well, that makes sense, I guess. When you have, Wakanda Forever's over here, you know, in its opening weekend making more money than Black Adam had in its entire run to that point, you're kind of thinking, okay, maybe that movie's not actually doing as well. And then you get the report that like, oh yeah, it looks like it's actually losing WB money. Well, that's the initial report anyway.
Yeah. And then, of course, when we're all settled with what we're going to be talking about tonight, thumbnails created, and everything's good to go, Dwayne Johnson just had to speak up right before we went live because no one told Dwayne Johnson The Rock that we were going live and not to throw a monkey wrench into this situation. But nope, he just had to and said,
Dwayne Johnson was like, hey, what do you think about the fact that the movie's losing money? What do you think?
And he was like, oh, it
doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah, I don't care. It doesn't matter what you think. You could take that 100 million they were doing, turn that son bitch sideways, stick it straight up your candy. Yeah, okay. So a few hours ago, apparently, he, I guess, tweeted out or something that, or actually, I think I have the tweet right here.
Word for
yeah,
word.
So earlier today, he said, waited to confirm with financiers, before I shared this excellent Black Adam news. Our film will profit between 52 million and 72 million. Fact, at almost 400 million worldwide, we are building our new franchise step by step. The first Captain America did 370 million for the DC future. So he's comparing that they've made almost 400, that the first Captain America movie made a little less than that, and it was considered a success. So he's trying to set the position and tone. Although, I mean, granted, Captain America came out in 2011, so there is a little bit of inflation there to consider. But beside the point, he says it's going to be profitable between 52 and 72 million. That's a tiny amount for a big budget superhero movie. You've spent roughly, I think they said that it's reported that overall the marketing and the production budget for Black Adam comes out to somewhere in upwards of 600 million, and you're profitable by 52 to 72 million. That is a tiny amount. That is not worth the return on investment. If you're spending, say, roughly almost 300 million, which that doesn't sound about right at all. That did not look like a 300 million movie. 300 million movie, you're getting closer to like Avengers.
I feel like it can't be that high. Most of those movies don't even reach or get close to, say, about 200 million for their budgets.
Yeah, that one, I don't know if there was actually anything that actually said what the production budget was.
With marketing, it's not. There's no way it's 600 million with marketing. It's probably closer to like 400 million.
I saw something that said it was like 600.
Yeah.
It's
probably closer to like
budget 195 to 230 million, roughly.
Yeah. So marketing is probably going to be like that amount again. So you're looking at closer to like 400 million for its total budget, which to make 50 to 70 something million in profit. Here's the thing. Yes, you made your money back. Good. You didn't waste any money on the movie. That's great. But a profit of 50 to 70 something million is terrible, because if you look at the cost of its production budget being around 200 million, somewhere close to, I feel like your ideal situation is that you at least want to make half of the sequel's potential budget in profit off of the first one. The first one has to build up to the second one. And then the second one is the one that hopefully either turns a profit, or maybe that one builds up to the third one. And the third one is what crashes down on the box office with a ton of money. And which case the franchise then becomes incredibly profitable. But if you're just making 50 to like 70 something million, that's not even 100 million. That's not even close to half the potential production budget for a sequel. Yeah. That's not what we would consider a incredible success. It's not like a flop, and it's not really a bomb because you made your budget and you did profit, but it's not great.
It's not enticing investors to want to make another movie.
No.
So
because that's one of those numbers that could go either way. Like, yeah, you could see more success in a sequel, but you might not.
that's going to be, I feel like that's going to put it in a position that if they were to try to make another one, that's probably going to reside a lot on Dwayne Johnson to produce it himself. They may say like, hey, we don't mind trying again and make another one. Let's tie it into something that people are more familiar with. Let's don't bring in other characters that people don't know of, like Dr. Fate or Hawkman. Even though they were cool, they were actually probably, those two characters were probably some of the best parts of that Black Adam movie. Let's not bring in these other characters that people aren't familiar with, and let's try to reestablish it like with Shazam, which would make sense. And so like, we're going to try this, but either you need to like kind of help co-finance this. That way, if it takes a loss again, we're not taking so much of a loss on it, or you just have a lower, you ask for a lower amount to star in the movie, which typically would also give them like an executive producer credit if they choose to go that route.
Or the other route would be that there is no Black Adam sequel, and Black Adam is just going to appear in other characters' movies, like say a Shazam title or something like that.
Yeah,
depending on what they do going forward.
I don't see the need for him to have his own movie again. Okay, granted, yes, going back to what I know of the comics, Black Adam, from my point of view, really wasn't like a major comic book character until DC did the New 52 reboot, in which case they did make Black Adam more of an anti-hero, when before he was really primarily just a villain. And
yeah,
that's where I feel like they need to go with him on this again. Like, he's going to be a villain for Shazam going forward. He may do some kind of like hero type stuff, but it's going to be very few and far between. And he's mostly should just be in other people's movies.
To compare to Marvel, and this would almost be a 1-to-1, they should have gone the route of like a Loki style with him, where he is the villain for Shazam, just like Loki was the villain for Thor. Maybe we see him play out in some other villainous fashion in a movie post Shazam, but then he turns around and we start getting endeared to the character in some form or fashion, and he plays like an anti-hero role or something.
Or tell you what, I like that idea. Just straight up rip off Loki in that point of view. Give him his own like HBO Max show, or whatever they're calling it now, just Max. I don't know. Give him a show like Peacemaker, or like the Penguin show that's supposed to be coming out. Like Loki, give him his own show and let him figure out his way in the world on his own in his own show. I feel like that could be a really good play for him. So,
yeah. Either way, I think Dwayne Johnson might be one of the ones that we see stick around, along with, the Henry Cavills and the Margot Robbies. Hopefully. I mean, it's just me just saying hopefully, because I think while he could have done some more characterization with Black Adam that would have elevated the character, I think, a little bit more, I still do think that he's got enough passion in the project, and he does at least resemble Black Adam enough that I think he's still a pretty decent casting choice for the role. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't mind seeing more from him. They just need to go in a slightly different direction than what they're doing right now.
Yeah. Anyways, just like when you've got a budget of like spending about $400 million, a return of $52 million is just not enough.
Like, yeah, because if you look at how like you invest into things, like if I were to invest $1,000 into something, I'm hoping to, maybe pull a profit of 2,000 out of it,
Well, it's like me playing like lottery scratch off cards. I do it. I will go and probably buy like $10 worth of scratch offs, maybe twice a year at most. I really don't play lottery or stuff. I'm mostly doing that just for the fun of playing a scratch off. I'm okay with spending $10 to scratch little cards. That's it. If I get like $1 back, I'm fine if it's $1. Generally, if I was really caring about the money, that would suck and I would probably stop. But I'm spending that money for the fun of scratching those off, not for hopefully winning more than $10 back. But you can't do that when you're talking about movies. They're not spending $400 million for the fun of making a movie. Maybe Dwayne Johnson wanted to, because he was passionate about this character in this movie. But the studios and the people who are putting up the money, they're not doing this for funsies. They're doing it to make a profit, to see a return. And when you drop 400 and you're getting 52 million back, that's not enough. That's like getting $1 back on your $10, if not even less than that. I don't know. I'm not figuring out the math right now. But
well, that'd be like you spent $10 on the ticket and you get like $15 from it. So you're getting a profit of like $5 off of that thing. You're like, okay, cool, I guess.
Yeah,
I'll go buy a drink or something.
Yeah, I mean, if that was my point, was to spend $10 on scratch offs and hopefully make like a bunch of money off of it, and I only make 15, so I make a profit of $5. Yeah, that's not gonna like really endear me to want to buy more scratch offs in the future.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That being said, I don't mind playing the Monopoly game at McDonald's and maybe getting some French fries or something out of it.
Yeah, that's always fun. Just as long as the people who work at the higher up positions of McDonald's aren't stealing the Monopoly pieces again.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, that was a fun conspiracy. Look that up on YouTube if y'all don't know about that. Whew, for like decades that was happening, apparently. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways, that is going to do it for the movie news tonight, which I guess means that the show is about over.
Usually that's how it works.
Else. Yeah, there's nothing really else to talk about here. So that's the movie news that we got for this week. Let's recap some stuff real quick. If you are a part of our Patreon on patreon.com/cinefanatics, if you are at the Maverick tier, joining us next Wednesday after Tagline, we'll be doing James Cameron movie trivia. So if you feel like you want to test yourself and see how good you are at James Cameron movies, come join the Patreon, hop on that tier, and join us next week after the Tagline. It's roughly around 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern. On the 21st, if you're at the $5 due tier, you can join us for a movie watch along. Keep an eye out on Patreon for the poll to go up so you can vote on which holiday Christmas movie we're going to be watching. That will be available. We'll typically try to pick something that's available through most of the popular streaming apps. So Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, stuff like that. Amazon Prime, if you have access to it. We'll try to go with something available through those, and we'll put the poll up to see what everyone votes for. And that's what we will watch. That movie watch along will be on the 21st, Wednesday the 21st, again after Tagline, 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern, usually right after Tagline's over. Otherwise, this Friday, we've got the marquee. I will be tier ranking Christmas horror movies with special guests Lego and Andres Gallego. Again, this is going to be a lot of fun. If you're interested in Christmas horror movies, or even if you're not, you're going to get some good recommendations on here. Just a kind of a spoiler on there. Silent Night, Deadly Night is a terrible movie, and it's probably going to score pretty high on there because it's so bad it's good type of thing. But yeah, if you would like more recommendations like that, yeah, you'll just have to see. Chris, you're not going to be a part of it anyway, so whatever. Yeah, come watch that. That is going to be this Friday, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, live on here. So yeah, if you're a part of our Patreon, you can see on the Discord the list of movies. If you want to watch them before the marquee this Friday, that is available. Anyways, otherwise, I think that's it. Go check out the Cinefanatics podcast. We just released one yesterday, the What Makes a Movie a Christmas Movie. We briefly talk about Die Hard. I mean, briefly, the briefest of briefs.
It's the whole episode.
Okay, whatever. We're just basically determining what actually makes a Christmas movie. Not necessarily specifically Die Hard, even though we do talk about that. Just in general, what makes a movie a Christmas movie. It was a fun discussion. Was really excited to sit down and have that one. So if y'all haven't watched it, it's available here on this YouTube channel, or it's also available in an audio format almost everywhere you get your podcast. So go check that out if you haven't yet. And thank you to those of you who have watched it. Otherwise, yeah, make sure you follow us at Cinefanatics MLP on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, and youtube.com/@Robert Adams MLP. Eventually, I will stream again at some point.
Also, you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP, where I will stream Sunday.
Cool. Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Hope y'all had a good time. We will see y'all I'll see you for the marquee on Friday. Otherwise, we will see you on the podcast next week or Tagline next week as well. Good night, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye. Weird outro phrase that we use for the podcast.